right, guys, going into Byun versus Solar. Byun going for a low ground wall off here on Waterfall. Waterfall, of course, one of the smallest maps in the pool, but it's got some wide open areas. So this map, beautiful map, really curious to see how this plays out. I think Solar probably saved his veto maybe for a map like, I think Tropical Sacrifice has some terrible areas for Zerg. I think there's so many good choke points for Terran to take advantage of with their ledges and so on. But we'll see exactly how it goes. This Reaper already causing a ruckus. The 6 Zerglings unable to defend. And oh, Solar trying desperately not to lose any units. And you know what? He doesn't end up losing any. Oh, yes, he does. Oh, pull back with the Zerglings, bro. Okay, finally does defend, but definitely some damage going down. Third hatchery is on the way. And behind this low ground wall off for Byun, very cute. It does mean he's super vulnerable if he gets like Ravager busted or anything, but oh! Oh, what? He just looked like he was surrounded. The Reaper just jumped from there to the low ground. Solar has got to be a little bit like, what? Already got 2 Zergling kills. Very nice. Starport goes up on the high ground as well. He's going to start a backup wall off behind this that he can always fall back to if he has to. But losing his add-ons here would be a disaster. Now, I do think mass roach play could be powerful on this map. I tried it against Byun earlier today here. Byun actually hit me with a Hellbat timing on this map, but that was after I opened up pool first, and I think he was very eager to do counter damage after being pinned at home for a while. Oh, Reaper sacrifices itself for a tumor. I would tend to take that trade as the Zerg player. Happy to lose a single tumor for that. Medevac is on the way. He's got a lot of Marines, so it looks like we're going to see... I mean, this looks like the build that Maru often does into Battlecruiser mech, but Byun's just going to do an 8 Marine drop and a 3 or 4 Hellion run by, and he could follow that up with just about anything. I mean, we're so used to seeing Maru go Battlecruisers next, but it doesn't have to be that. Lots of Queens coming down to the front. You can see he's chaining these injects up. Starting to saturate this third base is Solar. Now, there is a ledge there. You can get tanks below that ledge, and they can hit the third base. But this is some pretty big open areas, like I said. Yes, there's a river blocking the map with some little fords across it. Marine drop coming forward. Ling sees more Hellions on the way. There isn't... Oh, he's going Liberator and an Armory, so he is indeed going to go for a Hellbat timing again. It's a later one. It's going to hit about 5:30, but definitely still could have some big impact. Lings will come out just in time. Gets one of these Hellions down. Already an Overlord goes down on the north side. Marines will come forward. So the Lings are going to chase these 2 Hellions. Got to be careful. Byun could get some big shots off on those if you just get a bit carried away with yourself. He's got 1 Queen and a Spore Crawler in the main. Any damage on that Medevac is pretty huge. Where's the Liberator? Liberator is popped out. Overlord will not see it coming in. Dodges that. So that Liberator's going to come down the right side, siege up the natural. That could be absolutely excellent play. The Queens are going to go after the drop on the left. So he's got the drop, which I'd like that to skirt back in and hit this high ground ledge above this base. He's also going to hit the front with Hellbats. So maybe he just joins the Marines and the Hellbats together. That's definitely an option. Overlord in the main base does not see the Armory. That Armory's a bit too far back. Actually, oh, it will see it, but I guess it doesn't matter because the Hellbats are literally morphing in vision of his tumor. Queen and a Spore Crawler already in position. Byun pulls back the Liberator so far. Fantastic defense by Solar, who's got a lot of Queens, but that is a lot of Marines and Hellbats. Run the drones! Oh, he was a little slow. Loses 3 of them. But the Medevac's already gone, and the Ling's coming in from behind for the bit of a wraparound. But Byun, as he pulls back, nice disengage. 6 drone kills in total, so 3 or 4 on the third on that base, and 2 or 3 here. Liberator does get pushed back. You see, the Lings can't engage. Whenever he pulls into a big clump like that, and he's not fighting Queens, the Lings will get one shot by the big Hellbat ball. So Liberator's pulled back. It's trying to be annoying clearing up this Overlord. Not that it shouldn't be able to get the kill, but still rotating around, trying to cause some damage. He'll get an Overlord here potentially. Doesn't want to lose too many Hellbats though. He's going to lose 1 to these Queens as he pulls back. And 61 drones, 1-1 upgrades on the way. Lair is very late, as is the Baneling Nest. That's the one weak spot of Solar's play. But despite that, I don't think it matters. I think Solar's in a great spot. His 4th base is very slow as well. I guess that's another weak spot. Queen's coming out to this left side. Liberator's going to try and rotate into the main. Remember, though, there is still that Spore Crawler on the edge waiting for it. So the best thing is for the Lib to cut in and then siege maybe the high ground here. He's going to fly straight through. The Spore's still there. Ah, it's a lot of damage, man. Liberator. He actually uproots the Spore, I would say, a little too early. He could have got 1 or 2 more shots off, but... better early than late. Marines out front in the wall, very exposed. Lings don't want to take the fight though. 5th base goes down. Instant kill! Man, Byun using this ball of units, just being so annoying. Solar's like, can you please just sacrifice those guys on creep? I'd love those units to just get smashed, man. I'd like those units to get smashed. Big thanks to you, by the way, to those support coming in for those watching live. Give you guys some big props in a few minutes. Can't believe that wave. Really appreciate it, friends. 4th and 5th barracks are up. Is the armory down, guys? Yes, of course. He built that earlier. He's actually getting really quick vehicle weapons. So he wants to actually get multiple tank upgrades just to boost their splash damage. It'll help a lot against Hydras, Banes, that sort of stuff. But right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gases, and he's going to play Hydra. So Solar's going to play a pretty standard style. Feels like Solar's ahead, but Byun definitely could make this go to late game. And in late game, it's really bad for Zerg. Ling's going to come forth here. Cancels the base. Oh, I think it was misplaced. I think that's why he did that. It is, of course, a 5th base that he's building over here. Medevac's going to try and drop back on the high ground, but I think there's enough Lings and Queens here. Good positioning with those Queens. Shoves this back. Army of Marine Hellbat gathering. He's got a tank in a very defensive position there, but not many siege tanks yet, does he? He's only got 1 out. Only starting his 2nd tank. Hasn't started 2-2. Okay, those Lings are getting hammered right now. And very good trade for Byun. Solar taking some nasty trades. Uh-oh, if you stop to transfuse, you are going to get caught out, man. He loses 2 or 3 queens there. He's now got the speed banelings here. The medevacs do take a fair bit of damage, though. Both players a bit shy about headbutting into each other. Infestation Pit is on the way. So I do expect a hive and then these gases to go down in the near future. He's already grabbed his 6th gas geyser in the main base. He just started mining from this. How quick on that hive? I think he wants to go straight to the lurkers, but he's making Hydra upgrades, so maybe not. Maybe he'll delay that a little bit. Solar is at 79 workers. Hive does start up. Double upgrade, double drop there. Tanks moving forward, getting some good coverage. Triple barracks there. Depot wall trying to finish itself up on that side. Now the double drop is just going to keep on trying to distract and be annoying over here. Maybe get an overlord, maybe get a hatchery cancel. There's no banelings there, so you can't really fight. As Solar right now, his banelings and hydras are really far away. He's trying to save the hatchery, but that presents a very juicy engagement to Byun. Happy to trade a few marines here, and loses 5 marines for about 20 zerglings. Very good trade for him. He's going to move down that right side with his main army. Queens do get caught in the open. Oh, Solar! Oh, big mistakes for Solar. Really getting taken advantage of right now. Solar really only needs to defend on one of these sides. He's trying to defend both, and it feels like he's losing on both angles. Solar taking some nasty trades. He is up on 85 workers. Remember, he had great control from earlier on in this game, and he's about to have his 2-2 upgrades finish, which is also quite big. Double drop dives into the main base. He's going to try and unload here. Should definitely try and focus the queens down if he can. But getting back to the dead space is where he's going to be forced. And oh! Ah! Okay, 4 hit point medevac survives, but only for now. Byun is almost maxed out. He's building 3 more reactors, which means, guys, he's going all in on mass marine. I don't think Byun ever starts 3-3, or at least not for a long time. He's just trying to go mass marine all in. He's got 75 marines with 2-2 upgrades. Not quite done. That's delaying his push, and that's a huge problem. Hive Tech is here. Vipers are on the way. There's a lot of Lurkerling Bane. It's 2-2 versus 1-1. Solar's going to try to go in, and he is crashing in from multiple sides. The tank's going down. His whole army of almost pure marine deep on creep. The tank's doing literally nothing. Byun gets wiped here, and it feels like 11 minutes into the game. That's just too late to be doing a 2-2 push. The Hive Tech was already there, and even without it, the creep spread was not really dented. Solar, too much control from the early game. Well, winning on what I thought would be the Terran map, the small map Waterfall that got vetoed a lot at Waterfall. Solar looking fantastic there, and now going to Tropical Sacrifice. It's a big map, so I'm sure some people would say this is Zerg friendly. I feel like it should be, and yet I hate this map for ZvT. And the reason is it's got some really nasty bridges, there's choke points everywhere, there's sight blockers, there's just things getting blocked everywhere, and like nasty choke points. But I think Solar, being much smarter than I am, if he like breaks down these rocks early, breaks down these rocks early, the map can become a little bit more friendly. You've just got to have very good control. If you let the Terran get some momentum like Byun's drops started to in that last game, things can be very frustrating for you. Speaking of weird and frustrating, Byun is not just going to play predictable this series, Solar. He's going to go command center first in game 2. Sicko, very cool to see. So you can see he's got 16 SCVs on minerals. He's actually rallying an SCV to... Okay, so he rallies that here. Notice he rallies it to the patch that doesn't have a buddy on it. gets the barracks down. So it's 18 barracks, queues another SCV, 19 gas. And I think he's going to rally. Okay, so he's trying to always replace the worker that he pulls off. Notice how he... And then he's like, okay. And then he goes 20-second gas. Beautiful. And he's going to probably rally this SCV onto this gas geyser, I would say. There we go. Yep. Very, very cool opening. You can see pulls these workers off. He wants to be mining that immediately. And he even pulls the worker to the inside. Definitely is Scarlet's teammate there doing that thing, which not many of the top Terran players actually do that, pulling the SCV to the inside. He didn't bother doing it with that one. Just make sure you lose no mining time on the extractor, kind of popping into the extractor from an awkward position, because remember, wherever you get in the gas is where you pop out of the gas from. So Marine into Factory. Factory starts at 209, so you can see even though you've gone CC first, your Factory ends up at a pretty normal time because you so quickly go into 2 gases. And he then just pulls off gas once the Factory starts, resaturates his minerals, and he can just let these gases fill up as more SCVs come out. Meanwhile, Solar has gone for the quick third hatchery. Solar has no idea what he's up against. So he's playing a very standard opening. He's gone for what looks like a clash opening. 4 Zerglings. He's ready on the pillar. He'll send 1 Zergling into Scout. He's going to put a creep tumor down in the natural. This queen is also going to come down to the natural, and he builds a 3rd queen in the main base. Extra drones pumping on out non-stop. Now, it's interesting. I thought this was the 3rd that most Zergs would be taking on this map, but I think this 3rd down here is a bit easier to defend after experiencing the awkwardness of this 3rd base. The question is, does he go 4th and 5th up here? Because he's not going to have good creep control. Or does he actually take this base down here? Now, I, for some reason, earlier today kept thinking this was a half gas base. I didn't realize there was another gas down there. Still adjusting to the new maps. I was like, man, that's so weird. How did I not realize this was a half gas base? Byun is also going to open up with the, once again, just pumping out Marines, guys, off the reactor, and a few Hellions at a time, but not focusing so much on the Hellions. Of course, Marines can pick off Overlords, and it's a nice flexible tool. The Viking, it can clear up the Overlords, but it can't really, like, it land and try to pick off a drone. It's so ineffective at doing that. Whereas 8 Marines in a medevac is so good for picking off Overlords, pushing back the Zerg's vision. You can kill creep tumors. You can, if they're undefended in the main, kill a bunch of drones. So I really do enjoy the 8 Marine medevac kind of power that we're seeing in this matchup. The fact that it is so popular in the meta. Solar's looking healthy though. Very good play so far. Now, is Solar a queen splitter? I really feel like you need to be these days. He's got 1 queen in the main, 3 queens at the front, 2 more queens on the way. Let's see if he splits these queens into 2 different keys, or if it's just that's his injecting key up in the main base. He is building a spore crawler there. Interesting. Guess he sees the Marines coming out. They are going to clear up that Overlord. First blood? No. The looks like the Hellions and the Reaper. Or actually, no. Remember the Marine actually should have that kill, right? Because it was the Zergling Scout that came in. That ended up dying earlier in this game. It's going to drop on the low ground, push that Overlord back a little bit. Armory again! Oh my god, Hellbat's the name of the day, guys. Apparently he thinks Solar's going to be playing greedy in this series. Hellions do clean up that Zergling as well. Solar on 42 workers. He's got 10 more going, and he is going double Evo. Double Evo with no Balingness, no Roach Warren, so he is playing greedy in that regard. On the other hand, though, remember, he's got 7 queens out, 8th queen on the way. If he were to start a 9th queen as well, that alone should be enough to defend. How many creep tumors is he invested in? He's got only about 3 or 4 active tumors, so he's got plenty of transfuse energy, but he is losing them and having... Oh, he sees the Hellbats. Very good spot for him. Cloak Banshees will be following this up as well, remember. He's building extra Zerglings and Queens. Solar needs to spread these Queens out quick fast, man. You want to spread these out. You do not want to have them in a big clump up against this sort of army. Oh, the Spore Crawler pulling forward is sick, but that means he does not have a Spore in that mineral line right now. Banshee is going to just cloak and move around. No Spore in the natural. The one in the main quickly repositions. If Byun just dives that mineral line, he can actually kill a lot of drones. He sees the Spore building. Okay, it's going to kill at least 3 drones here. Very nice damage for Byun. Catching Solar, very ready for the Hellbats by just having a ton of queens, but he also had to pull all of his queens to the front, so you can see he's missing some inject time. The main does start injecting, the third's not injecting right now. So it's forcing the Zerg to move and move around this much. Does create mistakes in of itself. There we go. Does get an inject both in the main and the third. Banshee's almost out of energy, so he should try to get that one out of there and keep it alive for later. This Banshee's going to come in as well and just maybe hold position up there. Get these rallying drones would be massive. And look at that. That Spore Crawler is a bit out of position. Oh, it's actually... He needs to move south a little bit. Hellbats move forward, but the thing almost dies. That Banshee as well. Got to be careful. There's a Spore to your left. Ah, he forgot about this Spore Crawler, / maybe he never noticed it was there. So Byun does lose that, but behind it, 5 racks is up. And he's actually doing a 5 racks Marine tank push. He is building a 3rd command center, but he's going to do a very powerful push. Now, this base here, you can put tanks there, you can put tanks down here. Super hard to engage. And the way he's trying to control this area, to me, makes me think he's going to try and put tanks here. I really think he's going to try and get like 3 or 4 siege tanks here and just basically deny the 4th all game long. 7 Marines building right now at a time, and he could be building even more if he wasn't supply blocked. But depots are kicking in at a pretty quick rate, so +1 is done. Stim and shields as well. Carapace, so just single upgrade is coming in because melee already started. But Solar's definitely ahead on those upgrades. Can he get a bit more creep out is the question. Banshee comes in, grabs a single drone, pulls back. If he had 2 of those, that would be even nicer. Zergling's coming in, seeing no 3rd, and this is the point where Solar's going to realize, oh god, make nothing but Ling Bane. His Bane speed's almost finished. It's 20 seconds away. Solar just needs to wait for Baneling speed before he engages this. I think Solar's in a very good position to defeat this army. It's all about the positioning of the fight, though. He's also setting up for what appears to be a giant Ling run by, or maybe a wraparound. He might bring that in as a flank. Banshee's trying to distract there. Does end up going down. Queen's on the front, looking exposed. The Banelings are a little bit far back right now. Baneling speed is finished, as is Carapace. Perfect timing on those. So 1-1 versus just +1. And the Ling flank comes in from behind and finds a siege tank. That is massive, guys. A huge Ling flank from behind. The Queens and the Banelings are falling back right now. Good transfuses, though. Does lose 1 Queen. No, quick transfuse at the last second. Really well done. Baneling flank getting ready. The tanks are in a really good position. This is not where I was expecting him to push, but he does end up finding a nice angle. The tanks are getting flanked by Mass. Zergling, good spready on the tanks for Byun, but it's a lot of speed Banes, man. And some of them get some very good connections. It looks like that should be enough to hold things on. Getting rid of that last tank, so important. He barely does it. There's still a pack of Marines, but with a few more Banelings, a big pack of Queens left, and 2-2 upgrades on the way, this looks very good for Solar. He does the hold as he needed to, and I am a little surprised that Byun shoved into that position rather than taking the superior tank position on this base where the units would have had to attack around a corner. His tanks there were presented in the open, much easier to hit them. And yes, the 3rd is the more important base, but I do think he attacked on the wrong angle. Maybe I'm jumping the gun on that. Solar did defend fantastically, and once again, another run by. Oh, the Vedivac's not going to get there in time to pick that up. Another tank falling is huge. This is the tank position that I was talking about, guys. Unfortunately for him, the Queens will be able to overpower a single siege tank, so he has to pull that one back a little bit, and will not be able to repair that. Double lib is on the way. 3rd base is finally landing here. 2-2 upgrades kicking in. Basically is GG, though. You have an armory, but you haven't started +2 attack as Byun. That's a huge mistake. He needs that +2 attack right now. You can see the Marines, they see the flank setting up. I wouldn't mind him engaging on that. The Banelings are going to come in from every side, but with the reinforce coming in, this is actually pretty good for Byun. At least on the south side. On the north, he does get overrun. That tank does go down. Solar has to pull back, though. This is still a very scary push. That siege tank can get back in that corner. I'd love to see him get in that corner. Oh, he just made a tiny choke for himself. Byun with a huge mistake with that siege tank positioning. Those Banelings on the north are massive. That's what really matters. If those Banelings on the north get his Marines, he's dead. Looks like the Liberators are getting overwhelmed. His Marines, most of them get taken out. A few Marines left. The Liberators both siege up and go down to the Queens. And I think Byun had an opportunity there, but never block yourself from retreating down the ramp like that. It was so only the Marines could only go single file. He should have been sieging that tank here. It would have been so much better. So definitely just beautiful play from Solar. Byun a little too frantic with how he set it up, and with 2-2 upgrades now finished, he's got 65 workers, 4 bases. He's got the 3 mineral lines plus the half mineral line in the main. That is a great economic lead. That there is a deadly tank position. You can't really dislodge that tank, but it also doesn't reach as far as some of the other siege tanks. 4th base will get sniped down, but Byun's going to lose control over his 3rd, and I don't even know if he can save these SCVs. Marines are going to gun down some of these lads. I guess he can hold position SCVs in the wall, so he won't lose too much. 5 SCVs going down. If he can get this army home, Solar's mining advantage is not that big. The supply is also kind of similar. He sieges his tanks in the middle of nowhere, so he's trying to kind of catch Solar in a bit of a surprising location. Liberators on the 3rd saying, hey, if you run in here with Zerglings, I can stack my SCVs in the corner, and the Liberators will just make that very expensive for you. That is assuming you don't have banelings. A few Zerglings on the top side getting ready right now. We've got Hydralisks now are building with Groove Spines on the way. A few Zerglings, so I think he's getting ready to do some baneling roll-ins. Yeah. So you can see those guys are going to get gunned down by the Liberators before they get in though. So the Liberator's actually very effective here. Marine's just going to go after that hatchery. While it's building, it does not have any armor just yet. Tanks on the low ground, going to make it pretty much impossible to hold. Solar just gives it up. He doesn't want to get baited into fighting here. He's got this full base down here. He might have to take this 5th on the bottom though if he can't get rid of that. Good pull on the SCVs, and the Liberators do defend that base very nicely. 2-2 upgrades are on the way here for Terran. Byun's only on 52 SCVs, so he's continuing to all in that he's not trying to get a 4th base. It's basically a 3 base all in. And you can see he's actually oversaturated even with this low worker count as their bases mine out. Now, Solar's the same. Solar's on 24 workers on 4 base, so both players are in an awkward low economy spot. If Solar gets lurkers, he can stall out Marine tank all in basically forever and allow himself to win the game. But if he can't get out Vipers, lurkers, just link Bane versus Marines. There's always a chance with the right attack angle that the Terran ruins your day. Some good creep control in the middle of the map, but he needs more tumors respreading on the north and the south as well. I'd like to see Solar, yeah, doing some more run-bys would be good. The natural is actually the most exposed point. He hasn't really been hitting that angle. Imagine 50 Lings running in the natural right now. Could be a game winner. Like, Byun's in such a fragile position, and yet his army's growing to a magnificent size. And, oh, okay, good pullback on the front there. He almost went a little bit too far forward. Getting another tumor there is big. Just pushing back that map control of Solar. And he's going to once again snip off yet another one of Solar's bases. He needs to be scanning more, though. He's really got to be careful of Solar jumping on this army, man. And you can see Solar's setting up a big flank. A bit more pre-spreading would be a good idea. Oh, man, the way Byun's set up is so dangerous. Oh, but the tank shots are pretty deadly. Oh, good baneling hits. Gets rid of 2 siege tanks and a big clump of Marines. Liberator does siege up on the back. Very nice play there, but unfortunately only hitting 1 mineral patch. Marines are going to try to go for the counter push. Byun here, is he going to resurrect himself in this game and thereby this series? He very well may do so. The tanks are not going to be a big impact in this scenario. The tank, 1 tank survives. That's very big. The Baneling Hydra has to engage into this, and you can see the way he's focusing down the Banelings. Byun guns down every Baneling before they connect. Solar unable to defend his 4th, and the prolonged 52 drone just extended all in. Finally finds the mark. Byun. Fantastic map control. And after his first push, I think took a bad position. He took some really good positions in the following pushes and really made that work. Very well played. All right, guys, we're going on to Moondance. It's a bit of a short rush distance, but it's actually a very good map, I think, for both Zerg and Terran. I think this map really is a very balanced map for this matchup. Byun in the bottom right, Solar in the top left. Now, I actually should have introed this series with this, guys, but I was looking at the stats between these two before the series started. They were, before the series started, 161 maps for Solar won against Byun, and Byun had also won 161 maps versus Solar. They were at 161 versus 161. They're now 162, 162. These guys have played so many series, and to be exactly 50-50 in maps is insane. Solar is slightly ahead. I think he's won like 51 or 52 versus 48 series, something like that, in terms of who's actually come out on top in the series. So he's slightly ahead, but it's so damned evenly matched, and I can't wait to see how it goes as this progresses. Byun not going for the Reaper. He's just going to go for the Marine here on Moondance. I actually feel like the Reaper's super worth on this map. And he's gone 2nd barracks and a reactor. Oh, he's playing a 2-1-1, guys. Oh, wow. Very quick 2-1-1. So that's 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. Very old school build. And doing it without the Reaper, which I guess is a more modified modern way of doing it. He's going to be, if Solar takes this 3rd, which a lot of Zergs do, he's going to be stimming in there at 5 minutes. But knowing Solar, he might take this 3rd base. Very curious. Keep our eyes on what Solar does. Solar's actually gone pool first. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Sorry, guys. Wasn't even paying attention to Solar's opening. Solar's gone for a really quick Ling speed. Is he going to flood Lings now? Watch what happens with his next lava that pops out and this lava inject. I think this might all be Zerglings. No, 1 drone. Okay, so he's just building like 8 Zerglings with this super quick Ling speed. So I think he just wants to run in with 8 Zerglings and maybe kill the first mules. That would be interesting because there's only a couple Marines out there. Them getting surrounded would be very bad for him. There's 8 Zerglings on the map. Solar's just droning. He's moving out. He's going to take the triangular third. Going to be a little hard to defend that versus the 2-1-1. Those Lings getting ready to come on in. And these Marines, how many Marines has he got? He's got 4 Marines. So, I mean, having the early reactor means he's actually got 5. I guess he's got a Marine in the edge of the main as well, but they're all separated. Oh, no! A huge win here already. He hadn't dropped the Mule yet, but could even go after the reactor. He chooses not to there in the end. 2 Marines are hiding in the very back door. If the Ling finds those... Oh, those Marines! Oh, he finds them! Solar says, oh, 2 more free Marine kills. Heck yeah, dude. Oh, nice pullback attempt from Solar, but it does go down. This is a great win. Getting a few of these Marines and Zergling and SCVs down. Getting another SCV. Byun should be cancelling that or rallying that to the inside to his main base. Finally does so. Now the Marine's coming down and Solar's like, hey, you got to be wary about this. Because you don't know if I've built extra Zerglings, so I could be coming in at any moment. Now Solar's going quick Evo, so he's going to go for a Carapace upgrade to try and counter these early Marines. And Byun, he's actually not built a starport. Because of the chaos that he's in. He's actually just like, ugh. And I guess he builds Hellions now, yeah? This is a super awkward position for him to find himself in. Now, this does go into a Hellbat timing pretty nicely. You go like 6 Hellbats and 20 Marines with Stim. Maybe even have shields in there. If you build a single starport, you could get like 1 medevac behind that. Because he's a little behind on his mining now. Yeah, he is actually going to do the Hellbat timing. He's actually cutting SCVs to build an armory, a depot, and more Hellions. Oh, me, oh my. If you don't have Banelings or Roaches against that, you could just straight up die because the Stim Marine firepower backing up those Hellbats is massive, and the Hellbats are just going to smash the Zerglings, which normally you just want a lot of Zerglings to deal with the heavy Stim Marine. So it's a cheeky build order. There's no Overlords in position to scout this. He's even hiding his Overlord because he doesn't want Marines with medevacs to come out and kill that. Really wants to hide this moving across the map. Shields is on the way, yeah, so he's going to go Shields. He is building SCVs, but intermittently, like whenever he needs to skip an SCV to build a Marine or a Hellion, he's doing that. And you can see he's moving out now, and he'll kill the Zergling, potentially, but he doesn't give away what he's doing behind it, which is really good for him. Oh, Solar with the big dick scouting. Oh my god, Solar sees it. He sees the Hellions coming, and immediately, I would drop a Spine if I were him. He might just be waiting for that Baneling Nest. It's about 15 seconds away. The Hellions are here, the Marines are here. There's no medevacs. This is a crazy attack right now. It's incredibly committed. Those Hellbats still haven't morphed. Oh, good interception. Gets 1 Marine on the backside. Oh! Oh, no! Solar accidentally engaging there. That was a big mistake for him. Tries to morph the Banelings. Some more Banelings are morphing on the top right. A Queen goes down. Another Queen is about to fall. Make that 3 or 4 Queens. The Banelings trying to finish morphing here. Can the Marines focus them down? They're not stimmed in time. Oh, the Banelings get some pretty good hits. He's going to just get in the mineral line and try to do what he can. Oh, and those Marines are actually doing a lot of damage, but the drones are actually going to survive. At least some of them are. Good focus fire for Byun at the tail end of that. He kills 14 workers, but his attack washes up, and he doesn't have a 3rd command center. I think Solar's ahead after that. As bad as the work account looks for him, you don't have a 3rd command center. You're just going into another push. You've got a tank, you've got some Marines, but you've got no pressure. No pressure means this creep is going to spread back across the map as quickly as possible. Solar needs to put a tumor there, and he needs to actively spread this tumor on the north, and he should be spreading it this way. You don't need creep there, you need creep here. So, bit of a misclick there. Does need to get this. You can see he's trying to put some tumors down here as well. Very well done for him. Solar's trying to get up a melee upgrade off his single Evo against Byun, who's going double upgrades. I like that Byun staying active with the double drop. I actually would like him going for the 4th base. I think that's an easy cancel. I think this north side is a really scary area for him to fight into. Behind this, double upgrades up, and he's going to go build that 3rd command center on location in the back. 5 Marines building at a time. Stim, shields, 1-1 upgrades are on the way. The lair is now done. Solar needs that Baneling speed instantly. So he's going to be a bit distracted by this drop. Byun taking a bit of damage on the medevac. Pretends he's flying away, but he's actually just rotating into that main base. Baneling speed does start up. Solar's on 61 drones versus 49 SCVs. Back to a healthy economic position. But we saw how these follow-up pushes did so much damage to him in that previous game. Is it going to be different this time? And he's going to even siege the tank. Wow. Okay. The Spore Crawler will move forward, trying to, of course, get some damage done on the medevac. He's going to focus it down. That means not. The medevac will fall. And he's just going to have to save a few of these Marines. He will lose the tank. Gets a decent little trade. He denies some stuff. He's still got an 8 Marine drop that can bounce around the back and, of course, easily escape in the dead space. Hydra Den's on the way. 5 more workers. A 2nd Evo chamber as well. The upgrades are just so far behind for Byun. His third base still not up. He's only on 50 SCVs. The Overseer sees this as well. So you've got an idea that you're way ahead economically. And I see a handful of drones being built, and I'm like, I guess that's okay. But also stop and build nothing but Ling Bane, I think, is the way to win this as Solar. And I think he did great with run bys, but he needs some Ling spotters to see when this push comes out, and he needs to do a big Ling run by. And maybe even a Baneling backstab as well to blow the depots up. You want to try and force Byun all in here. Otherwise, he's going to be able to keep looking for those really nasty positions. Like, you might get like a bunch of tank siege down here in a corner that you can't really engage into. I don't know if there's a similar position here. I guess he can try to do a slow tank push from there. But yeah, he's going to try and push this south side for now. Got 49 Zerglings, only 7 Banelings. And I told you, Solar, just a gap in the vision. He doesn't see this push coming. Lazy vision for Solar. He's distracted by the Marine drop in the back of his base. Byun takes position on the front. Solar has to abandon this expansion. Byun keeps these Marines alive for now. Those guys can go back and heal for another day. The Marines are in here. The Queen goes down on this base, and you can see the way Byun is trying to just put the pressure on Solar. He doesn't have his extra Banelings ready yet. He's thinking about engaging. He's not going to be able to do it. The drop comes back in the main. The Queens and the Spore do shove that back. Banelings come forward. That's a dead 4th base. He's going to try to come forward to engage. Maybe. Oh, yeah, he actually does it. The creep there was just far enough. One of those Banelings gets a big hit on the Marines, and he clears the siege tanks. Byun does maintain the position, though. And, oh no, the Queens chased him off creep down here. Oh, it's a big problem for him. Finally, the drop goes down. The Marines will fall, but not before some decent damage was done. 2-2s in line for both players. You're still up on army supply. You've maintained some map presence. Kept the creep back. This base is still very exposed. Solon needs a 5th base in the back, and indeed, he's going to build that with this drone. He's got an infestation pit on the way. I really doubt if that's important. I feel like just more lair tech units is all he needs. I also don't think Hydras are particularly important. A couple Hydras to stop the drops, not a bad idea. But he needs more vision out there. Getting blindsided by that last push was a big part of the problem. And once again, another army's coming forward and he has no idea that it's coming. So I think Solar here, this is sometimes what gets him just bopped in ZvP, is missing his Zergling spotters out of the map. And he's got that mistake here again. It's a small issue. He doesn't do it regularly, but when he's playing the top tier opponents who really keep the pressure on like Byun does, these little weaknesses, these little habits start to kind of fall into place for his opponents. And they start to expose those weaknesses. Nice drippy droppies. The Marine tank on the front. Byun is like, dude, that base is going down. It was an absolute crime that it survived the last time, but it is now absolutely toast. Quick pullbacks there. Oh, okay, nice hot pickup. The drop there, getting 5 drones and redropping on the high ground. So annoying to deal with. The Lings trying to get on top of that, and they should be able to push it back. 7 Marines do save themselves. Tanks and Marines still in position. Transferring drones to this back base, but remember guys, it is only 6 mineral patches there. Solar running out of places to mine from. He's trying to go for a Hive and Hydralisks. Hive and Hydralisks are not what defends this push. It's more Ling Bane, and most importantly, cutting off the reinforce and maybe smashing in and really doing some big counter damage, potentially to force him a bit more all in. But you really need a big flank of Ling Bane, and it's just about having enough Ling Bane to crush his army. That's what it's about. You can't be attacking these Marine tank pushes from one side, because Byun basically sets up a shooting gallery where he's going to retreat backwards, stutter step, and gun your units down. I think Solar's winning the early game versus Byun, but I think Byun is winning these big pushes because Solar is playing into his hands a little bit. It's the same weakness that Hero Marine, I think, exposed versus Solar in that round of 8 quarterfinal at Katowice at the World Championship. We saw Solar unable to handle Big Gabe's just relentless aggression, and especially against these sorts of pushes. Gabe played against what his normal style was, and it so often looked like Gabe was dead, and then the 3rd or 4th attack would finally break Solar, and that feels like what Byun is doing here. Look at this, he's going to split up and start dropping the backside, finally setting up a big wraparound, but he's going to be attacking around a corner. That is not a proper flank. He needs to be coming from here. He's spreading his units, but they're just going to all clump up on that angle. That there is a kill zone. So I think Solar's kind of a bit too slow to set that up. He's also going to get caught by the reinforce coming in. Double drop in the back, gets 11 workers. This is so dicey on the bottom side of this map, what's happening right now. I've got my eyes glued to it because I think this army of Solar could get a great fight, or it could just get wiped. And he's still trying to set up, he's trying to find it. He'll find, finally, some of the reinforcements of Byun, but he's kind of trapped between a Terran and a hard place. Turns around, feints it, and then goes back. But there's Marines in every single one of his mineral lines. Byun is all over it, dude. Yes, he loses that Marine drop, but he's already killed 23 workers. He's got the tank sieged up here in range of the natural expansion. The Baneling Nest is in range. Yes, the reinforcement is getting stopped. Finally, that drop gets stopped. Solar needs to crush this push, and he needs to do it right now. Viper's coming forward. Ling Bane, Hydra coming in from every side, every which way, but a quick hot pickup. No abducts, no parasitic bombs to punish it. And this is a Solar who's on his last legs, and he's just getting overrun by the momentum-focused play of Byun. I love that Byun here is not just playing standard 3cc macro. He's keeping the momentum going and keeping the pace up, and it's making it very difficult for Solar. Not the best Marines there. I think he was trying to focus the Vipers down, and happy to trade them for that, but the Blinding Clouds did get down nonetheless, and I'm not sure what these medevacs are doing right now. Byun with some interesting control. Throws away about 5 medevacs unnecessarily there. This medevac in the back still being microed at the same time. Byun is still massively ahead despite that fight. Solar does not have enough drones to even utilize these new expansions that he's got. These drones misclicked there momentarily. You'll see him fix that up in a moment, and he does indeed do so. But only 4 drones mining there, 5 drones mining there, and he's going to try and transfer some workers to this top base. Viper's really good units versus the siege tanks, but does he have enough Banelings, Zerglings, and Hydras? He has 9 Hydras, 21 Zerglings, and 1 Baneling with 3 more morphing. And up against 44 Marines that are soon going to have 3-3, there is just no way. Beyond the Momentum Master, playing a little bit more like his old school style, really utilizing his micro, his momentum. And look at this tank corner. There are some really sexy tank corners on the modern map pool. I think if we are Solar, he'd definitely have some choice words about all these little tank corners. It's one of the things I pointed out when I previewed the map pool the first time, and I was like, oh yeah, but how often do you really see those corners get abused? Well, if you play the way Byun's playing in this series, how about every single corner on every single map, every single game? Bloody well played. Byun on the 2-1 lead. Fighting for his life right now, guys. He has to win this map and the next one. It is, of course, Data C. I imagine we're probably going to have something like Inside Out next up in the final game. Kaisi Gaming Solar. Teammates of Raynor, of course, up against Shopify Rebellion's Byun. Teammates with Scarlet. And a few of those other cool kids. Hastem. Oh, Solar expecting to get Proxy Barracks. Sends a drone scout out. Does not find it. Now, let's take a look at some of these tank spots. First of all, does Solar take this base? I think this base might be better. Now, obviously, there's some dirty tank spots here, which are, like, impossible, but very hard for them to get up there. You'll probably have creep control far in front of it. Oh my god, delectable tank spots there. It's pretty far away from your actual base, but definitely just an annoying, unassailable position until these rocks are down. Hard to flank. Some really nasty tank spots there. Decent little tank spots here as well that kind of reach up a decent bit. You can also just go tanks on this edge, right? You can try to just like push from up here, tank, and then work your way forwards. And you can even like pick your whole army up and drop it in the main. You've got like a bit of a triangle to work. So let's see. This drone here is usually the one that takes the third base. So we'll see where this drone heads for Solar. Solar might be a guy that just pulls the drone off minerals to send it there, actually. But nope, he's going to take the triangle third. Okay. Once again, Marine first, no Reaper into a reactor. This is one of the longer rush distance maps. So fair call for Byun. Nice quick factory on the way. But with the reactor being... Oh, that's a second barracks, sorry, not a factory. Oh, 2-1-1 again. Oh my, oh me, oh my. 2-1-1, yeah. So factory comes down. He had second gas before factory, so he's just making sure he has plenty of gas in here. Chat's been theorizing, why is Solar teching so hard? Why not just play Ling Bane? I mean, if you know, people even saying, well, if he adds Marauders, maybe you need to tech, but I would argue no. Just pure Ling Bane beats Marine Marauder tank as well. I mean, Marauders are annoying because they're tanky, but if you're flanking that army, where are the Marines going to hide, man? Where are those Marines going to hide? Definitely an interesting situation to see, though. You know, does Byun just continue the same momentum style? Because 2-1-1 plays perfectly into that. Having the early stim shields gives you some great flexibility with these early pushes. I have found that I used to be too focused on just keep massing units and surviving. And against, say, like 8 racks push styles, like the 3 base all-ins, like where the Terran just stops at like 60 workers, Going Hive is actually a really good idea there. I think actually, because you can get the Lurkers out and the Vipers if you've had a clean early game, if you're like even or slightly ahead. But if you're behind, I think you are forced to double down on the early tech to defend. Solar's not a big Roach guy. He's more of a Ling Bane expert, so we don't expect him to go down that path. No Creep Tumor on the right side. That's interesting. This Tumor, to me, feels like it's not very useful. But I guess as long as he spreads it to the right, it'll be fine. He's got a Creep Tumor in the main as well, so he can use that to kind of fill up the edges of the main base is a good idea. Double Medevac is going to start. As long as your double Medevac starts before 4:30, I think... Actually, no, never mind. I was thinking as long as your starport starts building before 3:30, you should be good. Obviously, stim before that as well. Baneling Nest is on the way now for Solar. We expect a lair to start up momentarily in that main base when he hits 100 gas. He was a little slow putting back on gas, and he also hasn't taken his second gas geyser yet, so I've got to question that. His Overlord did, of course, see the second barracks, so he knows what's happening. And he is just saying, look, I've got 3 mineral lines, 50 workers. It's just mass Zerglings, plus these queens that I've already got out. We should be able to defend. Sends the Ling out, and he will find these Marines. Oh, here we go. It's a lot of Marines. That's 20 Marines, guys. Oh, man. That is a lot of Marines. The Lings go forward to try and help the Queens. They can't stand their ground. There are already 2 Queens have gone down. A lot of the Zerglings as well. Oh, my lord. A vicious push from Byun. Already killing a lot of these Queens. He doesn't want to lose these units, though. And he does end up losing about 10 Marines there. 25 Zerglings, 2 Banelings, 3 Queens. It's a good trade for the Terran player, but is it a good trade? What do I mean by that? I mean, he's only on 2 bases, no third even started. Zerg has a 3rd mineral lineup. So, thing is, the Zerg can afford to trade a little bit worse in these scenarios, as long as he continues his creep spread, keeps on kind of pushing forward the advantages that a Zerg player needs in the long run. He's got to be careful, though. Oh, no. Solar, you can't lose your Queens, bro. Oh, no. He's going to lose at least 2 Queens. And if he gets... Oh, no. Oh, no. He's lost 7 Queens. The momentum is so far in Byun's favor now. I mean, this is almost just straight up game. Simply because, like, how do you come back from that? Well, you got to rebuild so many Queens, so many minerals, but your creep is going to suck now as well. I guess on the upside, there are active tumors on every single path. So as long as he doesn't lose those, Solar can still keep the creep spread moving out. Carapace is on the way. His Baneling morph there blocking his Zerglings, unfortunately, from gathering up at the front. But there we go. Realizes, hey, I've killed your Queens. Now time to get rid of those tumors. And does save 8 of those Marines. Byun here looking to do a 5 barracks all-in push. He's saying, let's go, man. Let's go for broke. Baneling speed has not started. Finally, it kicks up, but the push is already moving out across the map. This is not what you want. He's going to actually break the rocks just to speed up the push path. I think Byun says, well, I'm not really ready to push just yet. I need my +1. I need a few more Marines, but I do need to get it going. Now, the creep spread is decently far in front. Where does he push, though? What angle? Does he look for this top left that I was talking about earlier? Does he just siege tanks here? Does he just shove straight up the guts through the middle? I think this is too far away. I don't think you can stop here and siege tanks. It gives Solar too much time. He's going to try and shove forward. Solar sees the army here. Solar, he's got a lot of Ling Bane. The tanks are there. Pull out, pull out. Takes 2 tank shots. Nothing too scary, though. And the creep is getting cleared up. There's still 2 tumors on the right side, but the rest of the creep is gone. Byun with a nice spready. Baneling speed's not here. Byun says, come and fight me pre-Baneling speed. Let's go! A lot of Zerglings, but the Baneling's unable to connect with those Marines. Does he get rid of the tanks? He gets rid of 2 of them, but I don't know if that's enough there for Solar. I think Byun might just have it. He's down 20 workers. He's 2 base all in. Solar went above 70 workers even after taking all that damage. If he could buy time for Baneling speed and Carapace, he'd be good, but right now he is down an upgrade and he is getting hammered. He absolutely should not have been droning past 60 workers. He took way too much damage letting those Queens get caught out, not babysitting those. And dude, Byun just smashes through him. Carapace was way too late that game as well. Chat's pointing out he actually didn't start the Carapace on time. Apparently he started the lair instead of the Carapace and then just didn't have the money. I mean, I guess he did go the Evo pretty late. His lair was pretty late as well because he's trying to make the Banelings to defend. So his tech, I mean, getting no second gas might... Oh, and he forgot to put workers on a second gas early. Oh, so then he finally starts the lair, but it's like, dude, where are the upgrades? The upgrade is so late in this game. That is absolutely nasty. GG, well played, guys. And Byun just aggressive momentum pushes. He says, hey, apparently, dude, Solar just can't stop these on these new maps. Heck yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Byun finding the answer to Solar after a rough game 1 and a very close game 2. GG.